Unity, the thing that brings us all together as one. But Unity has decided to be ununified with its business partners.
Ooh.
Because Unity has decided to make a new deal for everyone to work under that completely destroys all trust in game developers across the world.
What is Unity?
So Unity is a game engine.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Unity is a game engine. So the I don't know if you know this, but there's
We don't.
two main game engines that most
I know
games
about
run.
Unity's game engine. I just
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I know. I'm just
well,
I'm
gonna tell
helping the
you
people
and the
who
people.
doesn't know.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of people have heard of Unreal Engine. So
Yeah.
that's the one that's powered by obviously Fortnite. And much of what?
Nothing.
Oh my god!
No, go.
I know.
Fortnite, woo!
Go.
shoot.
So yeah, Unreal Engine is one.
Yep.
And then there's Unity. That's the other. That's like more commonly used, and a lot of like indie developers use Unity.
I thought Ubisoft used Unity a lot for some reason.
Oh, they might too. I don't know. No, they have their own.
Yeah,
engine.
they have their own engine.
Yeah, they build their own shit.
For some reason I thought that was their engine was Unity. I don't know why.
No,
Go ahead.
No, Unity is separate. So Unity last week came out, or it's been about 2 weeks now, I guess. They came out with a new pricing scheme. So like with Unreal, I believe Unreal is free to use until you reach $1 million of revenue, and then you have to start paying like a monthly fee or something like that. And then I'll double check on that because I think that's slightly inaccurate. But I know it's like you have to reach a certain price threshold before you ever have to actually even pay for it, or anything like that. Unity, on the other hand, had one revenue model. They recently changed it, and this is set to take place on January 1st, 2024. So the new model that they were going to go through before shit hit the fan was a runtime model. So basically what that means is that developers will be charged each time somebody installed their game after certain revenue and installation thresholds were met. So, you know, they've been around for a while. Some games that you might know that use Unity are Genshin Impact, Vampire Survivors, Pokemon Go, Cuphead, Among Us, Subnautica, Battletech, Hollow Knight, all of which use Unity as their game engine. So all these games starting January 1st, any installs that take place, so this is all retroactive too. So what would happen is you would have to pay, if you're on the base, they have two different plans. You have like a early plan and like the pro plan or whatever. Pro plan is more expensive, but then the runtime fee is going to mean that any of these games that get installs after January 1st are going to have to now start paying for installs for games that are already successful on the market forever. So like retroactively going to have to pay for stuff that they've released that they've already built with the engine. So
Among Us.
Yeah, Among Us.
Yeah.
Beat Saber.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that runs that. So like that was the thing that really ticked people off is like it, like you mentioned earlier, it's like 100% a trust issue in that how can they trust them now when they come in here and suddenly change the business model entirely to be against like anti-consumer essentially,
right?
And make you have to pay more money for games that you've already put out there. Like it makes sense if like you told them in advance and said like if YouTube was like, well, YouTube does stuff too, I guess, but
yeah,
you know, if YouTube was like, oh hey, by the way, you know, all that money you're gonna pay, we're gonna cut that in half, and then it's also gonna cut in half for everything you released like 10 years ago too. So like everything's getting affected. Yeah. Like there's decisions that are made to use an engine to guarantee like certain financial forecasts. Like you want to sell X number of things, you want to build it this way with this cost. The engine is part of that conversation. And if you're going to come and like change the business model after a game is already released, like that's going to cut into your forecast. It's going to cut into your revenue.
How can you
like,
just go in
that.
there and be like, we're, you know, we said this, but now we're just going to do this.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa. There's nothing like in the bylines being like, yeah,
like, hey,
you can't break this contract for X amount of, I mean, there might be one and they'd be like, we can change this contract anytime we want to.
That's kind of ridiculous though,
well,
right?
As far as I know, Unity's always been that engine that's kind of like easy to use, easily accessible. It has the tools necessary. I mean, there's a community aspect to it, I believe, where people can help each other out.
It's been a great, affordable engine for indie developers.
I know, and that's like the thing to use. And it's like, it's amazing that we have Unity for indie games I mean, think of all the indie games over the past 5 years that have just blown up. Who've gotten such critical reviews, and yeah, it takes that person or people who come up with the idea and implement it and make it a viable like product to sell. But without having the right tools, like it's very hard for that to become a reality. And we have it now.
Yeah.
And now they're like, well, we want to make more money. And it's like, why? Why now? What changed? What's happening? Like, what's going on right now? Where it's like, what's the easiest route to? Why is everyone just trying to gobble up money as fast as possible?
Because money's
literally
makes the world go
across
round, but-
the board. It's like all industries. Like everyone's racing to the top to get all of the money, and I don't understand. Like, why are we in this giant, like, black hole?
Speaking of money, you can go to patreon.com/innergamer and donate to the Inner Gamer to help us make this show better.
We're not racing to the top. We just a steady climb is fine.
Help
Yeah,
me.
right.
I'm losing my job.
Yes, Jason might be losing his job.
This is true. This is true. So a little background. I want to dive a little bit deeper into like what exactly this policy change was. So it's, as I mentioned, it's a runtime fee. So you have Unity Personal, which is a free engine that many developers use. Once they reach thresholds of $200,000 earned over the past 12 months and 200,000 installs, once those are met, developers are then charged 20 cents every time someone installs their game.
Damn.
So what happened though is like people started like going off on like, this is a very stupid idea, because what about all these things that Unity didn't have answers for?
Right.
One such thing being install bombing. So, you know, people do review bombing.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, I'm going to like trash this game because I don't like what they did about XYZ. So let's just review bomb the shit out of them. Well, this opens up an opportunity to install bomb. If they're angry at the game, they can just install it a shit ton of times.
Who would do that?
People will do it.
Oh
man.
my God.
People are crazy, dude.
Oh yeah, dude. Be like, oh, this company sucks.
So
Well,
wait. Let me hold up. Back up real quick. So let's say I buy a game. Let's say Among Us.
Yeah.
Right. I play it, and then I uninstall it, and then I reinstall it. I uninstall it and reinstall it. They will have to pay 20 cents each time I uninstall and reinstall, or every time I buy it.
Well, so that
And install
it's
it.
every time you install it. So that was the other unclear thing, was that, well, what happens if they reinstall it? The terms basically said if they reinstall it, that's another 20 cents.
What the fuck?
So
Yeah.
every time you reinstall the
So
game,
if I
it
uninstall
would
the
cost.
game to make more like room in my hard drive or something, and then I'm like, oh, you know what? I kind of want to play it again and install it again. Then that's 20 cents they have to pay again
Yep.
just because I fucked up. But you're saying that people can just say, hey, fuck you, guy, and just uninstall, reinstall.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So if one indie game had 1 million downloads, it'd be $200,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for any company, that's like a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So why are they doing that? Why are they doing
Exactly. Why?
They didn't say.
They
but-
didn't say, but like, why not? Well, I mean, we kind of understand.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a money thing for sure.
Well, of course
But-
it's a
You
money
had
thing,
what
but-
was the guy's name who's in charge of Unity right now, or on the board of directors or something?
I have no idea.
What if they just do 1 cent?
Let me pull up his name. Let me find it for y'all right here. It's this guy who's holding his hands up.
I don't know why I'm
John
doing this.
Riccitiello. He's the CEO.
Yeah. So he was the one who was in charge of EA for a time, or at least of Battlefield. And he was the one who was being like, we want to get people to pay $1 every time they have to reload in Battlefield. Because they will, yes, this was a whole controversy back in the day. And that he was saying, there's actually an audio clip somewhere. And he was saying that if, you know, in the heat of the moment, you're going to pay that $1, or people will pay that $1 to reload their clip because they want to win. They don't want to just stop playing. And it's like, who the hell put this guy in charge? And why is it, I mean, he
Well,
has
that's
a
the thing,
he has a record of him doing these egregious things just to try to make money.
He's not wrong. He's not
But I
wrong
don't-
at all. That would like.
Yeah, but you would have to
Ugh.
know ahead of time. You couldn't just implement that later.
Well, I'm not saying like
which would be what he was trying to do.
he's wrong, but he's not wrong. If he does do something like that, if he does make that happen, a gamer would most definitely do that. That's where the addiction's at.
Yes. No, you're right.
God bless, man. Why do people think that way?
And he says that people should be doing like game companies should be charging money in these egregious ways and to make more money. Like, that's just what they should be doing.
I wish I was hungover right now. Good Lord, dude. Jesus.
You might feel a little hungover after talking about
That's
this.
kind of weird.
Yeah. So, after this came out and people were like, really, really pissed off about it, Unity came out and tried to explain some things. So they did ask about, the multiple reinstalls, and a Unity employee on Twitter said they would not be charged for reinstalls. But then later, Unity eventually nailed that point down in a thread on forums, confirming that developers will be charged again if someone who owns their game reinstalls it or changes their hardware.
Oh my God.
And then also, Unity is going to use its own proprietary data model to determine how many times a game is installed. So they say that early access releases, beta versions, and demos will count towards the installation threshold. That games that have already been out for years will be on the hook for that fee, and that for developers who feel they've been fraudulently or unfairly charged, they will, quote, make a process available for them to submit their concerns to their fraud compliance team. So that's really funny. So then they were like, well, what about Game Pass? Well, they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to get Microsoft to pay for that. And Microsoft's like,
Yeah, fuck
the
you.
fuck we are. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, they expect all these other companies to just start dishing out money to them like it's no big deal. It's like, no, we're trying to make our own money. Not going to deal with this BS that you just throw on people.
So they said the reason they're doing this is that Unity wants a, quote, semi-trackable way to more effectively monetize its biggest customers, most of whom are mobile games, and it's willing to sacrifice a small part of the business. Game engine revenues as a whole only account for about 23% of Unity's revenues, and the PC console segment is just a small part of that to make it happen. So Unity also offers credits that can be applied towards a runtime fee charges for users of its level play service that's only available for mobile devices. PC developers can't take advantage of that. But they're basically like, we're trying to get more money off of these big, huge mobile games. And they were like, well, if it sacrifices a little bit of our game engine revenue, then so be it.
Shit. I don't know.
So
Cool.
They did go in and change some things and make some more things clear, and which is better than what it was. But it's still not like after this whole atrocity has happened. One guy, Aaron Sanfilippo, said we've used Unity for 11 years now at FlipFly, and I've been teaching kids how to make games with it at a nonprofit for 3. After today's egregious announcement, I'm actively planning how to move us all to an engine with less hostile business practices. So disappointing. And at this point, I don't care if they 100% backpedal on this. They've made it clear it's not safe to work with this engine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You've like literally broken trust.
All trust is gone.
Yep.
Tons
like,
of years.
It would be... I can see... I literally can see how they're like, okay, we're not going to do this anymore. And I can see some people being like, all right, well, we're already stuck in the system. We'll just stay here. But I can see a lot more people just jumping ship.
Yep.
And it's just going to be a freaking desert out
Ever
there.
just wake up and just want to be an asshole one morning?
Yeah.
That's what happened here.
It's
they just
called
woke up and be
greed.
like, yep, I want to fuck over some people.
They're like, I think we can do this. And what are they going to do to stop us?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Well, they did everything. This is an absolute opposite effect. And I just don't understand why these people think they can just go in there and make money. Like, Unity had a great track record. It's been doing good. Like, a lot of people jump on it. I mean, you're like, well, this is a bad way of putting it, but you're like the Walmart of, stores. So why not just, you have cheap prices, people come in and spend money on your stuff. Like, just leave it at that.
Well, I mean, I get the fact of having to change things every once in a while because like costs change, like you don't have a consistent, like your cost might increase, different things come into play year after year that you have to then be like, okay, well, how do we at my company, we just raised our prices last year because everything's more expensive now. Inflation happened, so it's like, you got to kind of cover that. But
Sure.
it's the way in which they did this is the problem. They should have properly released this 6 months prior to it coming out and be like, hey, we're looking to do a new pricing model. like put a survey out or something. Be like, here's what we're looking at.
What's your feedback?
What's your feedback? Yeah, like give us some feedback on this, and then they can take that feedback and do what they got to do with it,
Put it right up their ass.
or not make it retroactive. So it's like, okay, if you continue to use Unity, this is what you're going to have to pay for new games, but not not hurt the I mean, like it's the best business, like the best customer service you can do is to like honor your loyal customers, like.
Yep.
You know, you want to retain customers, not continue to try and fight to get new ones. Like that's the best way to keep a business afloat is just like take good care of your existing customers because they'll be brand loyalists and never leave you, you know? So it's just kind of crazy that they went and did this.
There was another instance like this more recently that happened where there was like major backlash. They're like, oh, we're sorry we did this. We hear what you're, thanks for all the critical feedback. We're going to look at this and reevaluate everything. I can't remember. Was this year or last year?
Probably last year.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Because I don't remember talking about anything recently.
I can't remember which game it was.
There is a lot of people that have been doing this stuff though.
Yeah.
Just across
It's
the
not
board.
until like there's a huge outcry and they're like, what the, like literally what the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Battlefront 2, when they brought out their, pay to win stuff, that was kind of jacked up.
Yes.
And they had to pull back on that.
God, I hate mobile games so much. They've ruined the video game industry.
So Unity did come out and say, we want to acknowledge the confusion and frustration we heard after we announced our new policy, and we want to clarify some of these. So they said that more than 90% of their customers will not be affected by this change. Customers who will be impacted are those who have found a substantial scale in downloads and revenue and have reached both our install and revenue thresholds. So a low fee for creators who have not found the scale success yet and a modest one-time fee for those who have. This will be a fee on new installs only, so they did clarify that. So once you meet the 2 install and revenue thresholds, you only pay the runtime fee on new installs. And it's not perpetual. You pay once for an install, not an ongoing perpetual license royalty. And their developers are not responsible for reinstalls, fraudulent install charges, trials, partial demos, automatic installs, web and streaming games, and charity-related installs. So I don't know how they're going to track all that, but that's what they said.
Exactly.
But then after this came out, then they came out again and were like, look, we know there was some confusion. And then somebody was like, no, there was no confusion. Y'all just fucked up. Like basically what it was,
Yeah.
But they're supposed to have another, I think they're just going away with this plan now. And they have a new one in the works. They haven't announced it yet, but this is, as of this recording, will not be the new policy after all the backlash. They are changing it to something else.
They're changing it up.
So we'll see what that policy is, but no dice yet.
Well,
It's a mess. It really is a mess.
Beans.
I kind of wasn't like too concerned about it, but like after diving into it, I was like, oh, like this is just super egregious, like beyond belief. Yeah. I'm glad they get the backlash. I'm glad people are standing up. There's a lot of people on Twitter. There was one meme someone had posted, and it was of that guy who's like hanging over a grave and he's doing the peace sign.
Oh.
The grave has Unity, and then I don't know how to say this guy's name, Richatello, which is the CEO. He's just like, yep, I killed Unity.
That's the Arrowverse.
And the guy who posted said, sorry, I've been on planes all day. Here's a... Yeah.
That's good shit. So yeah, Unity is I have always like respected Unity because it's like I know it's an engine that was like easy to get into. It's helped to make a lot of new developers like come to light, because it's so much easier to use, it's cheap and all that stuff, and they definitely screwed up on this one for sure. It sucks.
They might have killed their company. We'll see.
Yeah. See what happens. But hey, there's Unreal out there. There's other ones as well that are available to use. So you might want to look elsewhere if you're starting a game.
Do it. Screw Unity. They've ruined it.